Welcome to CXO, a magical podcast to help you serve better and concoct experiences that are superlative in nature. I'm your host, Supriya Sharma, bringing to you in each episode didactic nuggets so you can get inspired to sprinkle stardust in your company, your home, and the community on the whole. Today, our guest is Adriana Salazar Hidalgo. She's joining us from Barcelona, the sunny Barcelona, as she says it. Hey, Adriana. So, Adriana is a customer experience specialist and an outdoor experience seeker who has a passion for consistently providing excellent customer experiences. She is also the beta founding member at Women in CX community and a consultant at Acquiyari, an international customer centricity strategic consultancy. When she's not working with customer experience, or we'll just find out very soon from her if she's taking care of customer experiences there also, we can find her volunteering for NGOs of the likes of Red Cross. So welcome to CXO, Adriana. We are so happy that you're here with us today.
Thank you for inviting Supriya. It's very nice to have you here.
So Adriana, you mentioned about your volunteer experiences. And I remember you speaking about how your volunteer experiences have helped you shape the customer experiences for your clients and the companies that you work with. So could you throw some more light on that, how volunteerism can actually lead to better customer experiences? Because this is a different dimension altogether. When we're talking about customer experiences, we talk of the matrices, we talk of the revenues, we talk of the customers, yes, but then this is so different. How come volunteerism can shape better customer experiences?
Well, I can tell you that from the beginning of my years in university, I usually was only like a customer, right? But then when I get involved into volunteering, also in student associations, and as we already checked on each other that we were members of ISEC,
Yes.
I knew that there was something else. It was like you are ready to provide a customer experience when you actually lived the experience before, like being a customer, of course, but also to have this will to bring other people's into a better position and a better life, better conditions of life, right? So in ISEC, I learned that with cooperation plans. And after that, when I moved to Europe, also with a cooperation plan with ISEC between Italy and Spain, I also had this sensation that if you're living that volunteer spirit, let's say, you're actually getting a little bit more or giving a little bit more of your own self, not only a service, but also a little part of your soul, like getting that to be a better experience.
Absolutely. So that takes us deeper into the concept of service, which is generally taken as, providing a service in business. We say, I'm providing XYZ service to my customers. But then, in order to make that experience magical or excellent, as we call it, or something beyond the ordinary, it has to be a part of soul that also needs to be put in. And I think that's what makes your customers come back to you time and again. So, what, according to you, based again on your experiences with volunteerism, is the exact concept of service? How can we look at it differently the way we've been looking at it in commercial terms so far?
Okay, so there's a big difference between excellence in service and being servicial. But I don't know the word in, like, really is not the word or not. When you're giving yourself by the soul, you're not just experiencing because you have already learned how to give the service. Like, you have to smile, you have to be kind, you don't have to argue with the customer, etc., etc., etc. It's something that comes actually very natural and very like home welcoming, right? And that makes the difference. It's not a strict line of things. Is something that you actually feel, something that you actually lived. And if, for example, you've been customer, the way that you would like to be treated, the way that you would like to be serviced in these terms, is the way that you will get that service to the rest of the people. I'm going to give you a little example. I was organizing LGBT tournaments here in Barcelona, and my intention was not for the football players, female football players, to have a great experience. It was as well, right? But the important thing for me, since I was counting on volunteering to get them into these activities every year, was that the volunteers had the greatest experience of all. Like the football players, they will have already doing the matches and winning or losing, but getting the entertainment within, right? But the volunteers will be sitting very active on the other people that were wanting some other things, or the activities that will giving at the same time of the games that they were taking part in the tournament, right? So they need to have also the feeling that they were having fun. And that's where I concentrated. The games, I cannot do anything about it. Those were the teams, right? So I concentrated on the fun that the volunteers will have and that bring them the next year to the next tournament so they can have fun again and they can help me develop those tournaments. At the end, you have very engaged volunteers. And of course, you have also very engaged teams because they were actually serviced in a better way.
Very interesting. So let me ask you this here. As a service provider, when you create a memorable experience for your customer, now the customer could be anybody, and here in this case, your volunteers were your customers. When you create a memorable experience for your customer, how do you feel as a service provider? We understand on the other side of the table, it's the customer receiving the experience, and if it's a great one, they're going to have a memory of it for long. But then on the other side of the table, you being the service provider, creating that memorable experience for your customer, how does it feel at your end? Does it feel like a sense of achievement? Do you feel proud of yourself? How do you feel at that particular moment?
It is actually a fulfillment thing, right? Like you just said, it's about feeling happy of what you are giving. Is that your best? Was that the best solution to give and provide to your customer? Was it another way to do it and still have better results? So every time you have one of these experiences, you just check back. Probably could be seconds from one customer to the other one, right? Mm-hmm. But if you just have that in your mind every time that you provide the service, then you will actually be better and better with each engagement and with each activity, let's say.
So what can companies do in real time, in the sense that what kind of training or what kind of leadership activities do the companies need to carry out for their customer service teams, or anybody dealing with the customers for that matter, whether it's their customer engagement team, whether it's the frontline employees, or even the back-end employees who are not directly dealing with the customer, but in a way they do shape the experience that the customer is facing? What kind of training, what kind of activities can companies really carry out for them so they can feel that sense of fulfillment with every service that they're providing, you know, inculcating the sense of fulfillment in the employees, saying that, okay, if you're providing this level of service, this is how you feel and this is how it benefits you. Otherwise, the employees don't see as a benefit for themselves. The question that they generally ask is, okay, I'm anyways going to get my salary. What is new if I deliver a memorable experience? What is that extra that I'm getting? I'm not getting anything. So why should I do it? What's in it for me?
Okay, so there was some important thing that you just said. The front line is the ones that are talking with customers, but the back line, they're not touching actually the end customers, but they do have an internal customer. So they have to think of their internal customer, which is their colleagues, or probably the providers or the partners that are with the company. So what companies could do actually is mix all these kinds of internal and external customers, feedbacks and activities, so they could actually understand at each level of the service How can you help? How can you improve? And listen to the employees that have already been there doing the job. What makes them easier to do the job, for example? What will companies help on making easier me providing the service, right? Do I get the right sensation for you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically the customers are already having a voice to the company, but the employees have also to have that voice. And the important thing there is, again, not all the people are facing the customer, but they do have a direct internal customer for them. So let's treat that one like the one that I'm servicing and the one that I want to improve service to. Have engagement for those internal customers, let's say, which are colleagues or partners. And then that will eventually grow as a very high experience and enjoyable situation.
Mm-hmm. So segueing into what you just said and extracting what you really want to say, does it boil down to the culture of the organization ultimately?
Yes, but if we say culture,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, okay, another time we're speaking about the same. So speaking it in different words or different meanings, it could have another impact. I know it's cultural. I know that you have to carry the company culture through the values and everything. But if you are saying to these internal people that they do have a customer that is waiting for an output, and that output has to be the best level, then it's not just follow the procedures. It's about enjoying having that job, like giving to the others that service that you're giving to those people that are still in the company, right? But they are your internal customers, and that will make them like, okay, I need to provide a better experience for them. And that is important as well. And
Mm-hmm.
as well, the day, it's a part of an emotional salary that has to complement all that.
Emotional salary. I like that term.
Yeah, it's a term I've learned very this year.
Ah,
I think it was in March when I went into the Gross Global Happiness Summit,
mhm.
and we were talking about 10 factors don't make me name them because I don't have them in the top of my mind right now. When you can actually think is the one that matters, but that also some things like belonging, that will be one, or finding a career path inside the company also give you the experience of enjoying your work and feeling committed to what you were doing and feeling part of the company and of the culture as well.
Mhm. So when you say belonging, what comes to my mind is the feeling of being a community. Is there a relation between the community engagement and the level of experience that we are delivering to the one in front?
Good that you're talking about communities. The experience I have actually with Women in CX
Uh-huh.
is that whatever you put into the community, you give it, you receive it back. It's something that flows because you put in effort. And in a matter of being natural, it's something that flows because you feel like you are being taken into account. Being part of that community helps you to grow. Providing probably help to others that will need it in a specific moment within your community because those are, let's say, your strong points will help others. And at the end, all the community will lift because of this experience, right?
Wonderful, wonderful. I can totally relate on how you demonstrated it at the end, saying the entire community gets lifted because of you sharing your experiences and the others doing so at the same time. So what message do you have for our listeners today, Adriana, who are willing to tread on the path of community engagement in order to provide excellent experiences for those that they're dealing with?
I think being true to yourself first, knowing that you have boundaries that you need to set just to not get burned, and to experience those situations into the community with an open heart. Like if you're giving whatever you are, setting those boundaries, because then you could actually relate to your own health, and just to have fun. That is two of my favorite goals in life, is to have fun and to try to be a little bit happier. And by being a little bit happier, you actually self-share, right? And in that exercise, you already have fun.
Just this last one, okay. Why only a little bit happier? Why not a lot happier?
Well, happiness is like a wave. So if you try to be the best and the biggest of the happiness, and that doesn't occur, it's going to be counterproductive for you, let's say. So a little bit happier every day will give you to the top of the wave. And then some things will happen that will bring you down. Those little moments of happiness will put you back on top of the wave again. And that is what life goes. It's not about only happy moments on top, but the ability to get and recover from those situations, hard situations that we all have, with little bits of happiness, step by step.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Adriana, for being with us today. We feel not a little bit happier, but we feel a lot happier that we are going to make a lot of happy experiences for those we are interacting with now. Thank you again for being with us, and see you. Thanks for listening to CXO with your host, Supriya. I hope you enjoyed a dive into the nitty-gritty of customer experience. If you are committed to applying these ideas in the real world, stay tuned with me. Don't forget to check out all the links and resources in the show notes. That's all for this episode, folks. See you next time.